he said.
"Steve Whitehurst. He owns pretty much the whole town. All the fracking operations are run by the Whitehurst Corporation. His family founded this town after the Indian Wars."
"You sell a lot of those targets?" The clerk nodded.
"It's our biggest seller."
Alice walked back to the motel with the Magnum in a huge leather underarm holster. She thought it would discourage the truckers from blowing their horns at her, but it drew so many salutes that halfway home she stopped, wrapped it in her jacket, and carried it over her shoulder the rest of the way. It was midday when Alice arrived back at the motel. The sun's heat softened by a shroud of pollution. She was about to unlock her room when she heard a noise from within. She pressed her ear to the door and tried the knob. It turned easily. Alice unwrapped her gun from her jacket and unholstered it. Pausing outside the door, she held her gun down next to her leg and took a deep breath. She was no good at this part of being a PI, the rough-and-tumble stuff. She was more of a paper trail PI. She'd bought a box of bullets but had no idea how to, or desire to, load the gun. Besides, the reason she'd gone with the biggest gun there, really, the only reason she'd bought a gun at all, was for a deterrent value. You'd have to be insane to rush someone who was holding a hand cannon like this. Turning the doorknob, she slowly pushed inward, raising the gun with the other hand. On the bed was a massive naked man, the white of his untanned haunches almost blinding, having sex with a woman who was hidden under his bulk. Alice cocked the hammer on the Magnum. It sounded just like it did in the movies, and it was very loud in the closed room. The man on the bed looked back over his shoulder at her.
"What?"
he said. He didn't sound all that concerned.
"Get up,"
Alice said.
"I'm almost finished." "I said, get up."
The man rose up on his arms and climbed off the bed. His stomach hung down enormously, and he was wearing a bright green condom. Alice tried to keep her eyes up. On the bed lay an angular woman, dark hair, dark eyes, pink mouth. She pulled her denim skirt up to her waist, and she still had her flip-flops on. She lay there, glaring at Alice. "What are you doing here?" Alice asked.
"I live here,"
the woman said.
"Bullshit,"
said Alice. She shook her room key in her free hand. "This is my room." The woman leaned over and picked up an identical key from the bedside table and shook it mockingly.
"You sure about that? Toss it over here."
The woman threw the key underhand across the room. Alice picked it up and held it alongside hers. It matched.
"Who are you?"
she said.
"I'm Bobby's girl,"
said the woman. She shimmied her skirt down over her hips.
"Who the fuck are you?"
The fat man, who'd been following this exchange like a spectator at a tennis match, suddenly gathered his clothes and boots, grabbed a sheaf of 20s from the table, and headed toward the door. Alice tracked him with the gun.
"Leave the money,"
she said.
"I didn't finish."
"Put it back." The man pursed his lips at her, but did as he was told. Just inside the door, he stripped off the condom, threw it on the carpet, pulled on his pants, and left. The woman on the bed took out a toothpick-thin Capri and lit it.
"Put that out,"
Alice said.
"Shoot me,"
the woman said, directing a jet of smoke out the corner of her mouth. She took another drag and tapped ash onto the carpet.
"You ain't Bobby's type. You a uptight bitch, but you sure ain't a cop. You ain't got that command presence, you know?"
"I'm a private investigator," Alice said. She lowered the gun and, after a moment, set it on the windowsill. "His wife hired me to come up here and establish his innocence." The woman on the bed laughed bitterly.
"Shit."
"What's that mean?" Alice said. The woman shrugged, a gesture not of ignorance, but of denial. Alice had to fight the urge to raise the pistol again. "How do I know that you didn't just bribe the clerk for that key after you found out the guy who lived here was in jail?" The woman on the bed brought out an iPhone and swiped across it a few times before passing it over. On the screen was a blurry picture of the woman and Robert, reclined on a bed. They were both naked.
"Swipe right,"
the woman said. Alice did so, and the next picture in the sequence came up.